Hello, welcome to African Economy, your weekly dive into key financial stories shaping markets right here on this continent. I am Wangfona Basi Walter. Here's what we are tracking for you today. Russian firm signs $1 billion deal to develop 500,000-ton aluminium plant in Ethiopia. Nigeria's inflation drops to 16.05% from 18.02%. Egypt discovers new gas in Western Desert at 36 million cubic feet per day. Dangote moves to end Nigeria's sugar imports with massive $700 million expansion drive. Let's take a look at how the US dollar is performing relative to other African currencies. The US dollar's inflation rate, the US dollar's per Nigerian naira inflation rate rose to 1,448 naira 83 kobo, which shows that the US dollars is rising against the Nigerian naira at 3.790 with a percentage of 0.26. The US dollars per US South African rand is at 17 rand, which shows that the US dollars is rising against the South African rand at 0.0535. And that is a percentage of 0.31. The US dollars against Zambian kwacha is at 22 kwacha per US dollar, which shows that there is no much gain there. The US dollars against the Egyptian pound is at 47 pound per US dollars, which shows that the US dollars is rising against the Egyptian pound at 0.1238 with a percentage of 0.26. The US dollars against the Algerian dinar is at 130 dinar per US dollar, which shows that the US dollar is falling against the Algerian dinar at 0.103 with a percentage of 0.08. Next, we move over to Ethiopia, where they have signed a $1 billion agreement with Russian company Rusal to build a 500-ton aluminium plant. Now, the project aims to position Ethiopia as a competitive aluminium supplier in regional and global market. The smelter is planned to be constructed over 3 to 4 years and expected to operate for up to 50 years. Meanwhile, Africa's aluminium production cluster expansion involve a design facility in Ethiopia to diversify continental output. Africa is steadily advancing towards a single digital market by 2030, an ambitious vision championed by the Smart Africa Alliance. This year's 7th Transform Africa Summit, held in Conakry, brought together heads of state, policymakers and technology leaders for 3 days of discussions on the continent's digital future. The summit, organized by Smart Africa in partnership with the government of Guinea, marked the first time Francophone West Africa hosted Africa's flagship technology gathering. Under the theme, AI for Africa, Innovate Locally, Impact Globally. The summit showcased Africa's shared commitment to leveraging technology for sovereignty, economic growth, smart and inclusive development. Smart Africa, a bloc of 42 member states, founded in 2013, grown from 37 members in 3 years ago to 42 today, evolving from a consultative platform into a fully operational institution, executing large-scale digital projects across the continent. A handful of African countries have emerged as a continent's financial anchors, backed by billions of dollars in foreign exchange and gold reserves. These reserves serve as a buffer during global shocks, support currency stability, and influence investor confidence. The latest data shows that while a few countries dominate the list, others are steadily climbing, reflecting broader changes in regional trade, commodity cycles, and monetary reforms. Africa's 2025 Foreign Reserve rankings reveal Libya Algeria, and South Africa as the continent's leading financial powerhouses. Nigeria ranks fourth with $41.3 billion, achieving a 4.23% GDP growth in the second quarter of 2025, marking its strongest expansion in 10 years, excluding the post-COVID rebound. Morocco appears in the fifth place with reserves of $36.3 billion, while Egypt takes the sixth position with $33.7 billion. Angola takes the seventh spot with $13.9 billion in foreign reserves. Tunisia appears in eighth place with $9.24 billion. The world's #1 cocoa producer, the Ivory Coast, takes the ninth spot with $7.58 billion in foreign reserves and gold deposit. Meanwhile, the East African giant Kenya recently got a boost in its mining sector after British firm Shantar Gold Limited confirmed a new $5.29 billion gold discovery at its Islu Bushangala underground project in Kakamega County. Angola, Namibia and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, have faced potential UK visa restrictions over failed deportation effort. The warning stems from what the Home Office describes as unacceptably low cooperation and obstructive returns processes, warning that unless the countries improve cooperation on repatriating their citizens, travel measures may be enforced, reflecting mounting tensions over immigration compliance. Now the UK's announcement comes amid a broader international trend of stricter deportation measures targeting third country nationals. The US, under the Trump administration, accelerated effort to repatriate foreign nationals, often linking immigration enforcement to diplomatic leverage and threatening visa restrictions for countries unwilling to accept deportees. However, analysts say the move may strain relations with the targeted nations. Egypt has announced a new gas discovery in the Western Desert, Gumana-1 well, with an initial production rate of 36 million cubic feet per day, providing a timely boost to the country's upstream sector. According to report, testing and evaluation are ongoing, aiming to integrate the well into the national production framework by tomorrow. The discovery is part of the strategic collaboration between Calder Petroleum Company and Apache, emphasizing Western Desert resource development. The ministry outlined goals to increase national gas production to 6.6 billion cubic feet per day within 5 years. We will go on a quick break, and when we return, African economy continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. This has been African Economy, bringing you insights that matters in Africa's evolving financial landscape. I have been your host, Wangfon Walter. Let's dive into the development in Nigeria's annual inflation rate, where the Nigerian inflation rate fell to 16.5% in October 2025, the softest since March 2022, from 18.02% in the prior month. This marks the 7th consecutive month of slowing price growth. Food inflation, the largest component of the inflation basket, recorded another sharp decline to 13.12% from 16.87% in September, helped by the ongoing harvest and a stronger currency. Now, the core inflation rate, which strips out the volatile prices of agricultural produce and energy, slowed for the 4th month to 18.7% in October, the lowest since February 2023, from 19.5% in September. On a monthly basis, the CPI rose by 0.9% in October after increasing by 0.7% in the prior month. South Africa's 10-year government's bond yield eased to near 8.060%, its lowest since February 2021, after S&P Global upgraded the nation's credit rating for the first time since 2005 on the back of a credible and optimistic medium-term budget review. At the same time, Treasury is backing up the new 30% inflation target aimed at anchoring prices at lower levels, strengthens monetary policy credibility, and paves the way for lowering interest rate. Markets are pricing in a possible 25 basis points cut by the South African Reserve Bank on November 20th, contingent on October inflation data due to day before. The investor confidence has notably strengthened recently, fueling a rally in South African asset amid progress in fiscal consolidation, the ongoing government stability and structural improvement such as more reliable electricity supply and increased infrastructure investment. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame says artificial intelligence could contribute up to 5% of Rwanda's GDP, transforming key sectors such as education and agriculture as African nations race to position themselves in the global AI revolution. Speaking at the Transform Africa Summit in Guinea-Conakry, Kagame said Rwanda has already laid the groundwork for developing a national artificial intelligence policy designed to guide the country's ambitions and ensure the technology is deployed responsibly. Kagame noted that the Transform Africa Summit, launched in Kigali more than a decade ago, marked the start of continental push towards broadband and digital infrastructure. That effort later produced the Smart Africa Alliance, a bloc of 42 countries pursuing digital integration. He said Africa's competitiveness will depend not only on the speed of adoption, but on choosing the right use cases tailored to local needs, adding that the continent's young workforce gives it a strong advantage. Lastly, on African economy, Dangote Sugar Refinery is investing over $700 million to enhance Nigeria's domestic sugar production and reduce reliance on import. The initiative includes land acquisition, machinery upgrades, and community engagement, marking a significant reform in Nigeria's sugar sector. Nigeria imports significant volumes of sugar annually, emphasizing the need for local production expansion to boost self-sufficiency. The company's investment aimed to produce 700 tons of sugar locally within 5 years, creating over 75,000 jobs in the process. And that's a wrap for this edition of African Economy. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us across all our social media channels at Spectrum Television. Remember, African Economy airs live every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:30 p.m. I am Owanfonabasi Walter. Until next time, keep thinking growth, keep thinking progress, because this is where Africa Economy speaks. I am Owanfonabasi Walter once again. Goodbye, Africa.